Mm. Mm. Well, hello, good people and Eagle fans. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It is game balls, and we haven't been able to do too many of these this season. This is our third victory of the season, although we did have a tie. We are now back at 500, and I'm going to say a sense of relief has come across for me because had we lost this game to the Commanders, Momo's rants was going off. Momo decided he was going to go off on Cowboy fans and tell us, beyond just the team. He was on to our streets were dirty, our fans are ugly, that we smell bad, and we're on steroids. And he just went all off. But I have to give him credit because he came in for his beatdown. And we're posting that video right now of him getting roasted. Everybody literally took a turn, just like in the movie Airplane, where she's like, I gotta get out of here, and then lining up and smacking the heck out of her and everything else. That was Momo tonight. But shout out to him for being a good sport and not being a cockroach and showing up. And I'm going to say what I said about this game before this game was this weekend was Survivor weekend for everybody in the NFC East. That it was a must-win game for everybody. If the Eagles had lost their game, you could look at that and say they're imploding, and they certainly would have if Carson Wentz had beat them. They were the better team today. They got themselves on track. They got A.J. Brown involved, although they got a problem with Saquon. Saquon, if somebody told you that Saquon was going to average 2 yards less per carry than Javonte Williams, you would say they're crazy. But that's exactly what's happened. So, shout out to them. The Giants, they gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter with that defense for Denver to come back and win. It was unreal, y'all. Unreal. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. 33 points in a quarter. So, I'm going to say that the NFC East is now a two-team race. Now, before you all get crazy and say, oh, look at these delusional Cowboy fan, they win a game and now they're going to the Super Bowl. No, I'm going to say this year, more than any other year, it is literally a week-to-week league. And everything changes so quickly from one week to the next. You know what's funny is watching teams that scored tons and tons of points against us struggle. But the Carolina Panthers, they got 4 wins. They beat the Jets in a dogfight. I'm going to say the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're frauds. They were 4-2 going today. Trevor Lawrence, I don't want to hear nothing about Dak Prescott being overpaid at $60 million because Trevor Lawrence is some bullshit. That guy is carried by the rest of his team. Number 1 pick, getting $55 million a year, and he's not a top 20 quarterback. But be that as it may, it's game balls for the Cowboys. Now, I'm going to actually say that Jerry Jones might deserve a game ball for what he actually said after the game about George Pickens and possibly signing him to a contract. Because George Pickens has David Mulligetta as his agent. Jerry Jones said that the agent basically had zero to do with the signing of Micah Parsons because he already had, that was not the issue, was not the agent. Basically, I think the Cowboys just decided we're not going to pay a lot for Micah Parsons. We're not going to spend that much money on a defensive player. And that for whatever reason, they were okay with not re-signing him. For Micah Parsons, congratulations, 3 sacks, 11 pressures, and he came from behind to get a win. But we're only 1 game behind them. I think they're 4-2-1. Yeah, we're 1 game behind them. We are a game and a half behind the Eagles. We're in the rearview mirror. And when you look at this, I love seeing on the sidelines Brian Schottenheimer living his best life. Happy as shit because he is doing with the Dallas Cowboys offense what he did with Russell Wilson as the offensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks. And when he was first hired and everybody was going through, we should have got Dion, we should have got one of the hot coordinators, we got this guy. And I said, listen, let's go back to his track record. With the Jets, he ended up having them to the AFC Championship back-to-back with Mark Sanchez as quarterback. With Bud Fumble. He led the league in rushing. When he went to Seattle, Russell Wilson was cooking. Russell Wilson was like mid-30s to 40 TD passes a year for 3 years. And they ended up having one of the better rushing attacks at the same time. And he's replicating that right now with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. That's not been the problem. The problem's been the defense. But Dak Prescott, for the Dak Prescott haters, those channels out there that are all Dak Prescott sucks, you're having a hard time right now content. Dak Prescott has, over the last 4 games, almost 1,100 yards, 13 TDs, and 0 interceptions. And the worst rated game has been 124.8. 3 TDs today, and he's running and using his legs in the pocket. He's seeing the whole field, and now that he's got weapons to throw to guys, he is, I'm sorry, you can laugh at me. If he is not the MVP, I don't know who the hell is. Because right now, 16 TDs, 3 interceptions. Unreal. He, of course, gets the first game ball. CeeDee Lamb, coming back from injury. In the first half, over 100 yards in receptions. Play after play after play. Showing you why he got his contract. And now that he's back, literally just back on the field, he got 100 yards in the first game back. He's got to get a game ball. George Pickens, who early on, I believe it was a 41-yard penalty for pass interference. He draws those pass interference, and that's not the first big one he's had this season. He's had several of those. On top of that, he's got about 607 yards and 6 TDs, and is averaging 16.6 yards per reception. Guys, I want you to understand something. 2 years ago, Brandon Cooks, I believe, was our number 2 wide receiver with, I think, 700 yards. He was 1,000 yards behind CeeDee Lamb. Jalen Tolbert last year, I think, was our number 2 wide receiver in yards. And it wasn't anywhere near 607 yards. The year before that, I believe Noah Brown and Michael Gallup were both under 500. He has 607 yards in 7 games, guys, and 6 TDs. George Pickens is making play after play, and of course, no problem today with him being Robin. Between our 2 starting wide receivers, you had 200 yards of receptions. George gets it, game ball. Jake Ferguson, 6 catches, only 24 yards, 4.1 yards to carry, but is a red zone target now, getting 2 TDs. 2 TDs. Bro. And the thing that really and truly makes me happy is that Javonte Williams is a stud. Like I pointed out, he's averaging 5.3 yards a carry. 2 yards more than Saquon behind their offensive line. And the thing that was great was in the second half, we were able to go ahead and run the football to help chew up more clock. He was over 100 yards today. And if you can run the football and you can hit wide open wide receivers and you got a plethora of them, bro, you got a lot. Williams gets a game ball. Boy, we run out of game balls. The offensive line that's been battered and bruised that is very, very young between Tyler Guyton, although I'm going to say that guy Martin ended up, trying to take Dak Prescott's head off, and I saw him rock Tyler Guyton on one of those plays. And Deron Payne, they were up in there batting balls down and stuff. But for the most part, they opened up holes for Javonte Williams, and they kept Dak Prescott upright. So you got to look at this and say that Caden Adams has gotten this offensive line working pretty good. They have to get a game ball. And anytime you can score 44 points, although I have to say, take off 7 of those points because we have a Deron Bland sighting. Now, let me be clear here. I decided that this week, I am not calling them a defense. I said, don't call them a defense because they're just 11 guys on the field. And then we found out about the concussion, about Diggs, and Diggs wasn't out there. I'm going to say that the defense played markedly better without Diggs. Now, let me preface it this. The Commanders didn't have Scary Terry. They didn't have Deebo Samuels. And Noah Brown is also an injured reserve. So Washington was shorthanded with wide receivers. But as some people, Monique, pointed out, they didn't have them last week, but they also won. Okay. So you're not going to use that for an excuse. I can say, I'm not sure if the defense was that much better. But Deron Bland did get a pick 6 and take it to the house, so Deron Bland has to get one. The defense played good against Jalen Daniels, and I don't hope Jalen Daniels, that his hamstring is not like Dak Prescott ripped off the bone, but I have real concerns about how bad that may be because the way he grabbed it, and they immediately took him to the locker room. The good news was you saw him kind of jogging into the locker room, but he never came back out. But we got a sack from Kenneth Murray, from Shamar James, Giovanni and Clowney, and Donovan Easy sighting as well. And the Cowboys put pressure on them. They stopped the run, and they had 3 and outs today. So I have to say shout out to the defense the 11 guys that were out there on the field. Got to. Maybe I should call them a defense again. Maybe not. Now, I don't know. I've got a big problem here because I like watching games at home. I do. But thus far this year, the Cowboys have not lost when I've been here. Now, I don't know if it's having the Funky Chicken and Joe Boo and Bucky Beaver here all together. I had my beautiful bride sat right there, close enough that I could reach over and touch her hand. I maybe that all of these things together in the universe helped. Maybe they didn't. In my mind, I'd like to think maybe they did. I don't want to risk it and find out that I was wrong. But maybe I need to be here for games. Maybe it's the power of the Red Brick House. Or maybe it's just the Dallas Cowboys in a week-to-week league recognize the importance of this game. Now, where do we go from here? I don't know. I think the best thing the Cowboys could do is to get George Pickens signed and look at this and say, this offseason, everything's going towards the defense to find some playmakers. Maybe this was the week that there was a lot of pressure put on Matt Everfuss. Maybe Diggs being out there was a liability more than a helper. And maybe that they're finally beginning to get some of this. Now, I don't expect this to be turned around to be a top 10 defense, but I don't know that they have to be. If they can get somewhere, 20 and below, with the way this offense is, you got a chance in any game. It's down to a 2-team race, I think. But that's not to say that we don't go lay a goose egg, lay an egg next week in Denver. Anything can happen because it's the NFL. So, let me say shout out to everybody who came in. We started streaming. I streamed for 12 hours at 9:30 with the game in London, and going through watching the Eagles game and then the Cowboys game and half of the game that's on right now. Looks like Michael Penix. Nice completion. Last I looked when I started, it was 13-3. But it looks like they're moving. Oh, it's 13-10. Oh, shit. With 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Maybe I stopped watching too soon. I would love for the Falcons to win and upset the 49er fans because they're annoying. Whew. Let me say from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much for being here and being part of the show. And I'm going to say that today was very, very humbling for a couple of reasons. I used the wrong camera, wrong Mevo, one of my old Mevos downstairs when I was working. I made some ribs and potato salad and stuff for the game and things. And I could hear the game on my tablet and listening to the fans that were talking and stuff in here. And so many of y'all had so many wonderful things to say about, my work ethic and how it motivated you and so on. Y'all showed me so much love and kind words. I really and truly appreciate that. And some of y'all even said, I inspired you to start a YouTube channel or a podcast. And that's about the biggest compliment and honor that I think I've ever actually had. And I want to thank you guys because you guys make me always want to be a better person and make me want to continue to work even harder. So, with that being said, Momo, he got his beat in, but keep Momo in your prayers because his wife just got out of the hospital. And he's not the only one that's dealing with illnesses. We got our buddy Bobby Schumer, whose wife was paralyzed a few weeks ago, who is in recovery and things. And I know there's many, many other ones out there. Nobody knows what's going on the other side of this camera. And I send you all my prayers. And I appreciate you guys watching and being part of it. But remember, tomorrow's not guaranteed, as Dan Quinn said. That's why you got to make those moves now. Remember, tomorrow's not guaranteed. Make sure you make the most of today and you let the people you love know how you feel. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go take me a shower and I'm going to go climb into bed with the woman that I love the most. That is after this play. 3rd and 14, Michael Penis. Yeah. Was that a catch or not a catch? Was it a catch or not a catch? 3rd and 14. Nope. 4th and 14. All right, you good people. Woo. I've sat down for too long today. Peace out.